Good morning. Today we celebrate the second Sunday of Lent. Our Lenten journey is continuing to unfold, and as you heard last week, we are working on a theme, on a series entitled, "The Gift is Greater Than the Transgression." The gift is greater than the transgression. This week's readings are rich with some beautiful imagery. I could imagine someday that they discover some ancient document that they find someplace, attributed to some psychologist that lived back in the time of Genesis, and in it they're going to find all of these notes about some terrorized young man named Isaac. You know, the image of his father coming after him with a knife. You know, you hear the reading, and a lot of times I don't think that, you know, we're that shocked by it anymore. I mean, when I first read the reading years and years ago, and even to the time when I was preparing for the series, I looked at the reading and it just kind of bothered me. Here's God saying to Abraham, you know, I gave you this son. I told you that you would have many generations in your name, and now I want the son back. So I want you to take him up on a mountain and sacrifice him to me. That's a pretty bold test that God gives him, and I could only imagine what would have happened had he not stopped him. You know, for many of us, our modern sensibilities just can't get our mind around it because it just doesn't make any sense to us. We don't have that kind of life, that kind of faith that Abraham had. Now remember, this was a test, and he passed it, and it was about his faith and whether or not he truly believed God and trusted God. See, for many of us, we don't have that level of relationship with God. Could you imagine what God could possibly say to you and try to test you? That's why we have to be very, very careful when we look at our readings, because in this reading is a beautiful imagery for all of us to understand just what our Lenten journey is all about. You know, we have to deal with the fact that we have a tainted nature. Last week I talked about that. Our nature was corrupted in the original sin, and that corruption, if you will, is constantly plaguing us, and it's constantly coming back again, manifesting itself through passions that we have, desires that we have, that when left unchecked can become deadly sins. And in our lives, those proclivities, those passions often get in the way and bring about sin. We transgress yet again. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind. These passions can be normal passions, but whenever a sin is committed, it's when we've gone too far and damaged a close relationship. See, if the definition of sin is what it is, a weakening or breaking of charity, of love between two people or between ourselves and God, well then, yeah, we have to see that sin damages relationships. Sin damages our relationship with one another or our relationship with God. It breaks the bond that is between us. Lent is a beautiful opportunity for us to sit back, to reflect, and to look deeply into our lives and ask ourselves certain questions. What relationships have been damaged by my actions? Who have I offended? Who have I hurt? Who has hurt me? Who has offended me? And then we need to seek to find ways to repair that. Now, by the grace of God, we're able to do some wonderful things, and we're able to grow in grace and holiness. And that is the whole purpose of the grace that we receive. The gift that God continually gives us is in such great amount. It is so generous and given freely that it's only up to us to accept the gift and use it for growth. And throughout Lent, that's what we do. We keep examining our consciences, we keep examining our lives, and we keep looking deeper and deeper into certain areas of our life that need that growth, that need that healing and reparation, and then work to do that. During Lent, we do a lot of these things like making sacrifices, and we give things up, and we offer things. But I think a lot of times when we're doing that, we're not doing it with the right thing in mind. It should be that I'm looking for some sacrifice to help someone who has wronged me or to help myself with someone whom I've wronged. I want you to think about that for a second. Do the sacrifices and the penances that we do seek to heal broken relationships? Do we offer for that person that has offended us? Do we offer a sacrifice for them? Do we make a penance for them? Do we trust God completely with that brokenness and ask God to heal it, to repair it? through the gift that he gives so generously, and through our intercession for another, hearts can be changed? Do we ask God through our penances to help us repair the damages that we've done, to help us heal the hurts that we've done? Our Lenten penances should be like that. You know, one of the greatest saints in our tradition is St. Augustine. I don't know if you know the whole story of St. Augustine, but he became the turning point in the early church in the 4th, 5th century for all of one of the most brilliant minds that came to the church. But when he was young, he was breaking a lot of relationships. His own mother, St. Monica, prayed for him and offered sacrifices that he would come to know God and become a holy man. And sure enough, he became one of the greatest saints of our tradition through the intercession of his own mother. She offered again and again and again and prayed for him again and again and again. And that, if you will, should be an icon for us of how we should be, especially during the Lenten season. We need to be working at our relationships. You know, even within our own families, there's a lot of brokenness. I don't know what happened with Isaac and Abraham after that incident. I'm kind of projecting a little bit into there. Really, the story has such rich symbolism in it that we need to tap into that symbolism. Now, first and foremost, Abraham is a man of faith. He lives with absolute faith and trust in God to the point where he's having conversations with God. So he's got that little advantage on me, because as many times as I've wanted to have that little kind of sit down with God, you know, and sip some coffee, let's chat about this, God, it hasn't happened to me. I wish it would, because I'd really like to get some clarity on a few things, but it hasn't happened to me. So I have to live the life of faith, just like you have to live the life of faith. But I don't think people catch the symbolism that's there. First off, remember, he's going to Mount Moriah. Now, how many of you have been to Mount Moriah? Do you know where it is? Yeah, no. I've been there. It's called Jerusalem. It's the holy city. It's where eventually they're going to come back and build a temple, and it's going to be... Now, you have the imagery of Isaac going up Mount Moriah with the wood on his back that is going to be for his sacrifice. Sound familiar? Who else did that? Jesus. God's own son will be handed over to be sacrificed. There's your gift. There's your gift. The symbolism that we're seeing, there's your gift. God did not spare his own son. St. Paul tells us very clearly. God did not spare his own son. The Father and the Son are offering you a gift. He'll do this for you and for me. And that's why it's so beautiful that in the beginning of Lent every year, we get the Transfiguration. Jesus takes them up on the high mountain, and he's transfigured, and you see this beautiful image of the glory of God shining forth with the voice of God speaking to them. This is my beloved Son, listen to him. Of course, that was God trying to help them avoid the scandal of what they're going to see on the cross. The cross was a necessary sacrifice for us. It's a gift. His blood and water that flowed out was a gift for you and for me. His being tortured was a gift for you and for me. His suffering was a gift for you and for me. And my suffering can be a gift for you, and your suffering can be a gift for me. The gift is much greater than the transgression. No matter how badly we've sinned, no matter how broken a relationship may be, it can be made whole through the grace of God, through the gift poured out on our behalf. And that's why I love all the sacraments. I love especially the sacrament of reconciliation, why I try to get there as often as I can, because the grace that's poured out helps to heal what's broken within me, helps to heal the relationships. That's why I love the Eucharist, because I receive the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ. It heals the wounds that are within me, the spiritual wounds. We can be transfigured with Christ through the sacraments. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, how is your Lent going? Do you recognize the precious gift that God gives you? Do you recognize how wonderful that gift is? Have you been examining your conscience and really looking deep within and maybe choosing penances that are in line with where you need to get, with what you need to accomplish? Offering those penances in silence, offering them for a loved one who's drifted or hurt you, offering it for someone within your own family. See, there's a great transition that happens through the cross. In the Old Testament, again and again, you hear about the covenants that are offered, the promises that are made. It's over and over and over and over again throughout the Old Testament. Again and again, God says, I promise, I will do, this I will offer. He gives the 10 Commandments, He gives the law, He gives all of these things, and you never really hear in any of that familial language like you hear in the New Testament. God is your Father, Mary, your mother, the church, your mother. You are a child of God. That's the covenant now. It's a love relationship. It wasn't meant to be built only on the law, only on rules. We'll talk about those next week when we hear about the giving of the 10 Commandments, where they fit within all of this. But God first and foremost loves you. God first and foremost embraces you and holds you. God first and foremost is there to show you mercy. And you only have to reach back to Him and take that embrace. You only have to respond to that mercy with, and I'm sorry. In the sacrament of confession, it's absolved. We often forget that the New Testament is not based just on rules. It's based on the law of love. And so love one another. Love one another, Jesus tells us in John's Gospel. Love is the heart of the new covenant. And so at that heart, take the love that you receive from God, that great and beautiful gift that you receive from God, that gift that is overwhelming to the point of even if you tried to fathom it, you'd probably end up going insane. That love that is so tremendous, so perfect, that is offered to you as a gift, now offer that gift to others. My dear brothers and sisters, Lent is a wonderful time, a beautiful time. As we go through these next few weeks, don't lose this opportunity. Don't let it slip from between your fingers. Keep praying, keep giving alms, keep fasting, but do it with a specific intent and purpose in mind, with a goal, if you will, of healing, with a goal of loving, with a goal of mercy. For that is what's at the heart of our Lenten journey. My dear brothers and sisters, I will continue to pray for you, and I ask that you continue to pray for me, and maybe even offer a few penances for me, because I could sure use it. God bless you.